Am I wrong for requesting to remove an in-house person from my son's daycare parking lot? This morning, as I was dropping my son off at daycare, I noticed a tent in the church parking lot. Normally, I try to ignore those as they have become increasingly common in Denver as housing prices skyrocket, but this is my son's daycare, and I cannot ignore a potential threat to his safety. I ended up speaking to the management, and they elected to have a police officer come escort them off the property. I feel bad because I know that there's ongoing efforts for addiction support at the church that perhaps he was seeking to take advantage of or not, but I just can't risk an episode or needles where my son plays and felt I needed to do something. So am I the a-hole? Honestly, I don't know why some people are so cruel, because in today's economy, a lot of people, especially in America, they're going through homelessness. People are losing their jobs. People can't find good paying jobs. So why do you feel the need to make someone whose life's already probably hard even harder just because how you feel? Like, if this person was acting out of control, if they were doing drugs, if they were coming near your children or child or even you, then she would have been justified. But the fact that she went out of her way to bother this random person who's probably having the worst days of their lives, probably at their lowest time of their lives, just to make their times even more miserable. Like, what is wrong with some people? Am I wrong for telling my daughter if she hates her stepmom so much, she's free to leave? My daughter is 20 and in college. She has a dorm on campus, but she doesn't live there. I love my daughter, but she can be a lot. Drama follows her everywhere, and I was hoping she would grow out of it, but it never happened. Due to this, she has gone through multiple friend groups, and as she puts it, they're jealous so she doesn't have college friends. I married when she turned 18. I was never married, and her bio mom wasn't in the picture, so this was an adjustment, but I want to make it clear I did the right steps. I introduced them when I was serious 2 years in. I spent more time with her. I didn't force them together. We made boundaries for my wife, like punishment comes to me and not her. When she was struggling, I got her into therapy and did sessions with her. She stopped when she hit 18 since I can't make her go. My daughter is making it impossible for them to get along. If my wife tells her food is ready, she gets pissed. She's bothering her. If she doesn't tell her, then she's pissed when she wasn't invited. It's contradiction after contradiction. I've talked to her. My wife has tried to do what she asked, and then she's pissed she did that. It's impossible. Now to the main issue. My wife's birthday was yesterday. I put her present cake on the table. I had to work, so I left it. I came back and all her presents were open and my daughter was eating a piece of cake. I asked why if she would do that. She told me she doesn't deserve birthday presents. This is when I had enough and told her if she hates her stepmom so much she can leave, that she has a dorm and I don't want to see her until an apology to me and my wife. She started crying and called me a jerk. So, like, either when the girl was growing up, he didn't really pay attention to her, so acting up was like a way of her getting attention, because even if you get negative attention, attention is still attention. Or he never set up any boundaries with her and let her do anything that she wants to do, because it's either or. Why would a grown adult who's past the age of 18 be acting like this? Am I the a-hole? Wealthy friend made me split the bill. I, 36, have been friends with a guy, 48 male, we'll call him Rob, for years. He's a very wealthy and successful guy, does very well for himself and has no kids, never been married before, etc. He's a serial dater and his goal is to date the hottest girl he can. He spends sometimes thousands on them every week and buying them gifts, dinners, and straight up giving them cash. It's his thing and one of the ways he likes to spend his money. Whatever floats his boat, his life, his money, and I don't judge. If he's happy, then I'm happy for him. However, recently he went through an awful breakup that sent him spiraling, and I was there every day and night to talk to him on the phone, offering him advice, read his sometimes over 100 messages a day, and otherwise console him. We're talking hours every day that I was spending on him, and it went on for weeks. Quite honestly, it was exhausting after a while, and there was a lot of trauma dumping going on. I am a single mom who works full-time, and I don't always have a lot of free time or mental energy, but I did my best to support him. He recently invited me out to dinner, saying that he owes me for all the support I've given him. So we went out to a really nice restaurant and had a nice dinner until the end. The checks arrived and he stated, "Alright, we're splitting things." I was shocked as he wanted this dinner and invited me. When I questioned him and also informed him that I had to pay $100+ to a babysitter to be able to go out with him, he insisted that he's not paying for me, that we are just friends. I am able to support myself and my kids, obviously, but going out is a treat because of how costly everything gets. $100 is a lot for me. I sent him my half and left shortly after, somewhat upset as I felt blindsided by this and also felt that he should have treated given the fact that he invited me and also because he makes exponentially more than me and knows my struggle sometimes as a single mom. Am I the ill for being upset with him? Will love some insight before I confront him. 1. I have no romantic interest in this guy. 0. I'm not jilted and upset, nor do I have some fantasy that he will be with me. It's just not like that with him. 2. For the people saying that nobody owes me a dinner just because they make more money, you are absolutely right. However, if I had a friend or family member in a tight financial situation I had the means to pay, I would feel horrible taking money from them. Nola218 said, not the a-hole. This guy isn't your friend, he's a user. The invitation to dinner and the IOU would make anyone assume that he was paying for the meal. Block this guy and move on. He's using you as a therapist instead of treating you as a friend. You have enough on your plate without this self-centered guy wasting your time, dumping his breakup woes on you. You will breathe a sigh of relief that you don't have to answer his messages anymore. And don't fall for any apologies. He doesn't care about you. He will just be upset he lost his free therapist. He is way too old to be acting like this. And honestly, I couldn't agree more. Am I wrong for causing a scene after I, 23 male, lost a costume contest at Dog 3? So I'm genuinely losing my mind here. So I love Halloween. I love making costumes and put a lot of effort into it. My friend hosted a big Halloween party at her place and said there would be a costume contest for who had the best Halloween costume under $50. Third and second place would win $25 and first would win $50. So not a huge money prize, but enough to offset the price of the costume. And to me, it was more about the fun of the game. I wanted to win, so I pulled all the stops and went as a Zuru from One Piece and only had to buy $40 worth of material. When I got to the party, I saw the other costumes and there was some fierce competition, but honestly, I think I had the best costume. I thought maybe it was too obscure to people who don't know anything about anime and that may not go well, but it was a good costume. When the winners were announced, I got second. This bummed me out kinda, but hey, I still did well, and again, if I had went with something more. When the winners were announced, I got second. This bummed me out kinda, but hey, I still did well, and again, if I had went with something more ubiquitous, maybe people would have got it. However, the issue arose when they announced first place. First place was a dog dressed like a pirate in one of those shitty Party City pirate costumes. So if I had lost to another person, I wouldn't care. But I had a few drinks in me and my inhibitions were lowered and it was a effing dog. So I out loud asked the host, "Really, the dog one?" And she said yes, and she was gushing about how cute he looked. I said that it was a dog and it didn't even have a say in what it was going as. I told her that this didn't seem exactly fair. She told me to line up and that it was supposed to be fun. I told her that it's ridiculous. She's about to give the $50 prize to the owner for spending $20 on a cheap Walmart dog costume when me and whoever was in third place actually made our costume. She got mad that I called her ridiculous and things kinda escalated into a full-blown argument that required my friend breaking us up. I was then kicked out of the party for embarrassing the host like that. So I don't think I'm the a-hole because obviously that's not fair. If it was a dog costume contest, but having a bunch of people compete and lose to someone's inbred bulldog is so effing unfair. I think I was justified in saying what I said. People there said that I should have just taken the 25 and called it a day. Am I the a-hole? Honestly, if the dog won, the dog won. I mean, it's just like the host said. It's supposed to be for fun and for giggles and for laughs. It's not that big of a deal at all. My 24 female husband, 31 male, asked for a paternity test. It came back positive, but our relationship was never the same. My 24 female husband, 31 male, and I have 3 children. Our sons look exactly like him, dark skin, dark eyes, and hair. But our daughter doesn't. She looks exactly like my great grandparents, really pale, blonde, and green eyed. But apparently, he didn't think it was possible that our daughter could look like my great grandparents. And from the moment he saw her, he told me he wanted a paternity test. At first, I refused because I felt it was humiliating and because I didn't think it was necessary, because I never cheated on him and I hoped he would trust me, but he didn't. And for the first 2 months of our daughter's life, he made my life hell. He didn't want to hold her, even if she cried desperately while I was doing something else. He never woke up at night to help me with her. He never helped with me anything, and that hurt me so much because with our boys, he was completely different. He helped me all the time with absolutely everything, and he was always there for me after giving birth. But this time, he left me alone, and it was the worst experience of my life. I have no family here, and his entire family, from the moment they saw my daughter, turned their backs on me. I don't have any friends here either, so it was just my daughter and me. She's a cockly baby, so it was very difficult for me to do everything alone, and on top of that, help with our sons. I decided to do the paternity test because one day his entire family came to our house to celebrate my son's birthday and no one spoke to me and they didn't want to include my daughter in the photos that my in-laws took of all the grandchildren. So I knew it was stupid to keep waiting for them to come to their senses. Well, the paternity test came back positive and everyone was shocked and of course they felt guilty for not having believed in me. Everyone apologized, and my husband even cried when he held our daughter in his arms for the first time. And I know his apologies were genuine, and that's why I forgave him. But I don't know if I can forgive his family. They treated me really badly and said horrible things about me just a few days after giving birth, and I can't even forget their insults or violence. My husband knows that I don't want to see his family, nor do I want them near any of our children, and he told his family. So these last 3 months, it has been just the five of us, but it doesn't feel as good as I expected. My husband is constantly apologizing and crying every time he holds our daughter, and I am getting tired of this situation. I want us to be happy as we were before. So how can we move on? My husband suggested that we should start couples therapy. How much therapy? How much can therapy help? I don't know, OP, because the fact that you even, what? Like, she is a better woman than me. As soon as a man uttered the words, "this is not my child," and had speculations that I was cheating, I would have gotten the paternity test just like that and would have left his ass. Because she's saying, oh, his family were being violent and they were saying X, Y, and Z. The family wouldn't say any of that if the husband wasn't having doubts himself and didn't put that in their ears to begin with. Like, why would she forgive him? Am I wrong for backing out of a wedding because they want to scream me? I, 27 female, have been invited by my friend Tom, 32 male, as a plus one to his older brother's wedding, 36 male. Tom and I met at a party and have been friends for 10 years. He asked me out when we first met and I said no. He's been in a few relationships over the years and had a long-term girlfriend for 4 years. Tom broke up with his long-term girlfriend in March and asked me out quite a few times afterwards. This caused tension with our friendship, but the last time we spoke about it, he seemed to understand that I wasn't interested and a relationship with me was never going to be on the table. His family has been putting pressure on him settling down and getting married, especially since his brother got engaged. He asked me if I could be his plus one to his big brother's wedding so he wouldn't go alone, and I said yes. Tom told his brother about me, and his brother said he'd like to meet me before the wedding, in case it's awkward. He doesn't want anyone ruining his wedding. I thought this was a tad strange because I'm only a plus one. I'm not part of the wedding party, but I said sure, arrange something if you want to. Tom's brother has since told his mother and father about me. Now his mother wants to meet me before the wedding too, as Tom said, just to make sure you'll fit in with everyone. I feel like I'm being screened and I'm finding it kind of offensive. I'm starting to think maybe Tom has implied I'm more than a friend to his family. It's making me uncomfortable. So would I be the a-hole if I pulled out of the wedding, or is this normal and I'm being overly sensitive? I think Tom definitely told his family OP and him were more than just for rent. So honestly, if I were her, I would pull out now, if just in case things don't get even more awkward. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife nobody cares about her small business? My wife, 27 female, owns a Etsy shop where she sells handmade jewelry. She has some real talent and the jewelry she sells is generally very nice and high quality. She gets a surprising amount of sales on there too and has great reviews. The issue is that everywhere we go, every conversation she has, she slips in something about her shop and tries to promote it. Talking to a friend, She'll casually mention a big sale she made or a custom order she got, and not very subtle mention that she'd give her friend a coupon or something similar. Talking to our waiter, she'll mention that she has a pair of earrings on her shop that would complement their eyes. Talking to someone online, she'll somehow manage to say, as the owner of a small business, she literally cannot have a conversation anywhere with anyone without trying to sell them her jewelry. The other day was a family member's birthday, and they were having a decently sized get together with just other family members and a few close friends. I went with my wife, and she's a pretty social person, even outside of promoting her shop, so she was quickly making conversation with my family. Of course, not 5 minutes later, she was showing someone the bracelet she had on that she made and mentioned that she sells them, and talking about how since they were family, she would happily give them a 25% discount. She probably had the exact same conversation with at least 5 people during the 2 hours we were there. As soon as we left, I spoke to her and said she needs to quit doing that. I told her if people were actually interested, they would ask her about her store, but not every single person she talks to wants or needs to hear about her art. She got upset and said that she just wants to spread her product and doesn't see what she's doing wrong, and hasn't spoken to me much since. I feel like I am the a-hole, since I would admit I had a pretty harsh tone and could have been a lot nicer during the conversation. Plus, I get she's just trying to sell her products, even if it gets obnoxious. Am I the a-hole? Am I wrong for telling my husband I find him disgusting and I want us to sleep in separate beds? My husband, 43 male, and I, 31 female, welcomed our second child 4 months ago. With having a new baby, I'm extra cautious about germs and cleaning. This got me thinking about my husband's shower routine. He will take a shower in the morning and go off to work. He's a chemist, so mostly desk job, but sometimes he walks outside from one building to the next. They are less than a block away. We live in a humid, hot Florida, so that adds to the equation some inevitable perspiration. He's also a manager, so he deals with people all day long. I have tried to bring up the subject of him taking a quick shower when he gets home from work, or even just before bed. He says that he does not need to take another shower since he showered in the morning. I tried to explain that I don't feel comfortable with him laying in the bed because I lay our baby there sometimes, and I feel like the bed sheets are dirty by him laying on them. Same with our comforter. No, baby sleeps in a bassinet safely next to me, but during the day I will lay him in the bed while I do chores around him like folding laundry, etc. I realized everybody has their own routines, but I have washed my hair in the morning, showered, and gone through the day. At the end of it, I'm feeling dirty, grimy, and in need of a shower before bed. How can he be okay with having gone through the whole day and not feel like he should shower? I finally told him I'm not comfortable with him laying in bed dirty, so he should sleep in the guest room. I have OCPD, so it's really hard for me to not have things be the way I feel they should be in my mind. In my mind, it's disgusting for him to lay in bed dirty, but what do you guys think? Am I the a-hole? Especially that they have a small baby laying in the bed that he lays in. Sometimes he should be taking a shower after a long day. Like, come home, take a shower, go to bed, and then the next morning when you wake up, because you went to bed, what would get you dirty? If you took a shower before you went to bed, put your lotion on, put a little perfume on, put your PJs on. In the morning when you wake up, all you should be doing is brush your teeth, do your hair, put your clothes on, and go about your day. I don't understand people who don't take a shower when they come from work, but will take a shower in the morning because for some reason, I don't understand. Like, honestly, she has a valid reason. But that's it for today. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe and like my video and tune in. And also, I have posted like a compilation, is that what it's called, of last week's Reddit stories. So that will be in like my channel if you want to go watch that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Am I wrong for snapping at my nephew because he ate my daughter's food? My daughter, 6 female, is a very picky eater, not in the sense that she will pat and whine if she doesn't like what's on her plate, but more like she actually throws up and have something resembling a mini panic attack. Because of that, whenever we have our weekly dinners with my husband's side of the family, my mother-in-law will make a separate dish for my daughter that she knows she will like. My daughter hates most spices, so most of the time no one else likes her food, so there's no need to make it a dish for everyone. 2 days ago, we had our dinner and we were running a little late. because it has been a bad day for my daughter and we were both irritated at that point. When we got there, I saw my nephew, 15, eating my daughter's food. I knew it was hers since she was having a completely different dish than everyone else. And my mother-in-law told me it was and sent me a picture to show my daughter since it was a new recipe she was trying. My daughter also saw it and started bawling. It was a very hard day for her and I guess this was what finally broke her. Everyone came running into the kitchen to see what was happening, and when my sister-in-law saw what her son was doing, she immediately scolded him, but the damage was done. I gave my daughter to my husband and asked to wait for me in the car. Once they left, I snapped at my nephew that just because his parents never taught him to shut his mouth for a little while doesn't mean he can just eat whatever he wants. He knew it was my daughter's food, he knew how she is about food, and he still chose to eat it. I gave my sister a hard look and left. Everyone had been bombing the family group chat fighting over who is on the wrong. I don't think OP is wrong, but she could have just kept the "your parents didn't teach you" comment, because that was a little too far, considering the sister-in-law did tell her son not to do that at all. And she said in the edit that she told her son not to do that, and this was like the first time the son did it. So, I mean, he's 15, you tell them not to do once, like, maybe if he was like doing it over and over, that probably would have warranted such comment, but she didn't need to say all that at all. Someone did not agree with OP at all. They said, yeah, you are the a-hole. If your daughter is so picky, why aren't you preparing the meal for her and bringing it yourself? It's hard to judge the intentions of your nephew since it was a new recipe being made that day, and you can't expect everyone to be so in tune with your daughter's habits. Am I wrong for saying to my parents that I won't give up my career and look after my brother once they're gone? Last week, my parents phoned me asking me to come down the Friday just gone as they want to talk to me about something important, and they'd prefer to do it face-to-face. I agreed and came down Friday, and we talked. My parents said that they've been delaying doing their wills for so long and decided it's finally time to get their affairs in order. I have a brother who's older than me, but he's autistic, and I don't know if nonverbal is the right word, as he can only say a few words like mom and dad, and although he's 26, it's more like he's a 10-year-old, if that makes sense. My parents told me that they've got some sort of plan to go into the will, and they've said their plan is if one of them were to die first, then my brother will live with the lone parent part-time in a care home assisted facility. Time to give the lone parent a break. Then if the lone parent dies, the plan is for my brother to come and live with me, and they will set some sort of trust up so that each month whatever he inherits goes into living costs. For example, if he inherited at $100,000, not the actual amount, a trust would have been set up and $1,000 comes out each month to cover his living costs. Why I said my brother has the mind of a 10-year-old is because he can't do anything without the help of our parents, like getting him dressed and cleaned and ready and helping him with tasks and activities. My family members take it turns at the weekend to have him so my parents can have a break to relax and recuperate. I know it's wrong of me and I shouldn't be, but I'm not an emotional person and I'm not sympathetic as well. I said to my parents that I'm not giving up my career to look after him, and when they both die, I won't be taking me in. My brother and sibling relationship is non-existent, and I also don't feel equipped to look after him, and I am an honest person and will say that to me, I feel like a massive burden. I voiced my reasoning to my parents, and I thought they would be more understanding. I basically feel like he's better off in a place where people can actually help him and know what they're doing. I'm just not prepared to give up my career or anything for him. I also stated to my parents that I'm more than happy to give up my half of the inheritance so the money can go on making sure he's looked after, like setting up a trust fund. So if they died, he went into assisted living facility, his bills are paid, and there's an allowance for him each month. My parents are completely upset with me and are disappointed in me for this. I feel justified, but now I'm wondering if I've been a total B and an a-hole when it comes to this. Honestly, if someone says I cannot do this, and this is going to be a huge burden and too much work for me, and I am not like emotionally, mentally, or even physically and financially equipped to do such and such, I think that they should be left alone. Because imagine she takes her brother in, and because she doesn't want to do any of this, and she literally seems like he's going to be a burden to her. She mistreats him, she takes her frustration out on him, and now he's going to be a victim and she's going to be the monster. So it's better she gives up her money and he goes to a facility, and then like when she goes to that facility, OP can look after her brother, like, you know, like she can go in, make sure things are going well, make sure he's not being mistreated by the people that are taking care of him. Like, I think that's more of a good idea than her taking him in when she knows she's not emotionally and mentally equipped to take care of a person who has so much needs and who is in such a vulnerable position to begin with already, you know? A commenter said, not the a-hole. Your parents have plenty of time to research facilities and programs for your brother's long-term care. They also have time to set up a trust with trustee or guardian to make sure no one is abusing the trust and misusing the money designated for your brother's care. You may want to consider being one of the trustees. It's unfair to expect you to pick up the pieces, especially since your brother could be transitioning now when your parents are well and able to oversee his care. Another commenter said, not the a-hole. Your brother is not your child and you should feel free to live your life. And it's strange that they're willing to put him in an assisted care facility when one of them is still alive, but then send him to you when they're both gone. It's mature of you to offer to give up your half of the inheritance so he will be taken care of. That sounds like a good plan. Offer to put it in writing that you won't contest the will. Maybe that will set their mind at ease. Am I wrong for refusing to delete a video taken in public? This weekend, my girlfriend and I were walking at the local reservoir when down by the water we see a lady going past the hundreds of ducks following her. I am not exaggerating at all. I'd say there were at least 200, 300 birds, if not more, quacking and splashing and climbing all over each other trying to get closer to the food she was tossing. It was a hell of a scene, so I started recording it because frankly, I've never seen anything quite like it before. I'd say the path where we were was about 30 or 40 feet back from the water, so it was from a pretty respectable distance, not getting up in her face or anything. For a good minute or two, I'm just filming all these ducks going crazy. Well, the lady looks up and sees me and says, "Are you recording?" I tell her, "Yeah, I'm recording. There are like 300 ducks back there." So she yells, "I don't want to be in the picture. Delete that video. I didn't give you permission." I tell her, "No, I'm not deleting it. We're out in public. I don't need permission to take pictures of things. I'm not even taking a video of you. You just happen to be in it walking past." She says, "Well, then how about if I take a picture of you?" and pulls out her phone. I tell her, "I don't care. Go ahead. What are you going to do? Frame it?" So she's just standing there taking pictures of us until finally we walk away pissed off. So am I the a-hole? I guess this lady thought I was being rude, but I didn't see anything wrong with what I was doing, especially since it wasn't even her I was really taking the video of. A commenter said, "You are the a-hole. It may be illegal, but if someone doesn't want to be recorded, you should respect that." Another commenter said, "You are the a-hole. She didn't want to be in your video. She didn't want someone recording her. Sure, it's legal. It doesn't change anything about the fact that it's still a-hole behavior to go ahead despite someone saying they don't want you recording them. It's so weird to see so many people arguing the legality of it like that makes it fine. Plenty of things are legal to do, but still a-hole behavior. It's so even weird how things are now with videoing people in public. It becomes so normalized." And I actually do agree with that. Like, people are recording everybody and people are putting, like, I remember one time I seen a young black woman standing on, like, at a stop sign, and someone recorded her because I guess they didn't like the way her body was shaped and the way people were touring this poor girl up. It was so disgusting. Imagine had that been me, I probably just went off myself because the way random people on Twitter, I think, got like millions of views. People were retweeting, commenting, laughing, giggling, body shaming her, disrespecting her, degrading her, like basically dehumanizing her, all because somebody took a video of a random person on the street and took them to the internet. Just because something is legal doesn't mean it's necessarily morally right. Like, what is wrong with people? And I agree with this comment because if OP was recorded, like, I would have probably done that. Like, if I seen some crazy, like, what he said, I probably would have did that and recorded it just to show it to my siblings or someone else. But if someone said, "Oh, I don't want this video of me, can you please delete it?" I would have been like, fine. Because you don't know what type of situations people are in. Like, maybe she's in the, what is it called? The witness program protection or whatever the hell you call it, and she doesn't want people finding her. I don't know, but OP is definitely wrong in my opinion.
Am I wrong for saying I will call social services if my sister-in-law keeps leaving her child at my place? I, 30 female, have a half-brother, Enzo, 40 male. We're not very close since we're both raised with our prospective mothers, but he has always gone out of his way to help me with anything I've needed. Enzo married his wife, Steph, 33 female, 2 years ago. Steph has a daughter, Alice, 4, with her ex, but has sole custody, and Enzo and Steph have a 7-month-old son, Teddy. I also have a 3-year-old daughter. Enzo and Steph moved to the city I live in when Steph got pregnant, and since then, Steph developed a habit of showing up at my apartment building unannounced. It became a problem, and I talked to both her and Enzo about it, and she stopped until she gave birth. Now she regularly drops by unannounced to leave Alice in my building for babysitting while she has to run errands or something. She's had her carpool drop off Alice at my apartment before. My poor housekeeper is a wonderful woman who has had to deal with Alice arriving unexpectedly while I'm out, and I feel terrible about it. I've told the concierge not to let her up and to say no one is in, but then I'll drive to Alice waiting in the lobby, which is not safe, and the concierge has told me I can't make them responsible for a child. Steph keeps saying she only does it when she's desperate, but I don't see how she can be that desperate to run errands at least twice a week. And frankly, I'm not a nanny, and if she's desperate, she needs to hire some help. I've spoken to Anzo, and he's always extremely apologetic and says he will talk to her. And I believe he does, but he also works during the day and can't police where she is at all hours. I reached my breaking point a couple of days ago when I returned from lunch to find Alice at home, having been dropped off since she had a half day at school. I apologized profusely to my housekeeper, who had spent time playing babysitter, and called Steph. No answer. I called her several times, and then Enzo, who was on a business trip and distraught over the situation. Steph eventually turned up a couple of hours later, and I went ballistic. I said if she ever leaves Alice at my building again, I will call social services, and I will call them every single time she drops Alice off with me until they do something, because this is not my job and she's an irresponsible and neglectful parent. She burst into tears and begged me to help out with Alice, but I said no and reminded her I've never said yes in the first place. She just kept dumping her kid here. Steph kept trying to guilt trip me, but I was too exhausted and upset about the situation to be receptive, and eventually my husband had to tell her to leave. I feel bad because, as I said, Enzo has never been anything but the most accommodating person where I'm concerned, and maybe treating his wife like that was harsh. But at the same time, I chose to have one kid because I don't want another. Steph can't use my house as a daycare. Was I too harsh? I don't understand the concept of just dumping your children with people who clearly tell you over and over and over, I don't want to be in the presence of your child. Please stop doing that. If you're very poor, very desperate, single mother, struggling, you have nobody, and even then, but from the sounds of it, why can't she just hire help if her husband has the money for her? Why does she keep just dumping her child on people who don't want to be in her presence? Am I wrong for not leaving the gym after a woman was intimidated by me? I, 26 male, work a job in a remote location. I stay at a camp with 600 people. There is an attached gym that is a 5-minute walk from my room. It is a decent-sized gym with basketball court and 2 weight rooms and a track upstairs. I had the day off, so I went to the gym to kill time. When I went to the gym, there was one other person that I saw. We were both in the weight room. After I finished my second set of my first exercise, she came over and told me that she felt uncomfortable being alone in the gym with the guy and asked if I would leave. I told her I would go to another part of the gym, but that it was unreasonable to ask me to leave. She gave me an annoyed look and left the gym. I had already started and didn't want to stop and come back later. On the other hand, it's only a 5-minute walk to my room, so it would have only been a minor inconvenience for me to leave and come back later since she was there first. Am I the a-hole for excluding my adopted sister from family photos? This is a throwaway and I'm using fake names. I am 26 female and my adopted sister Ali is 14 female. The way we're related is that my younger brother Michael, 24 male, has been with his wife Maya, 24 female, since they were freshman year of high school. Maya and Ali had a really bad home life, and my mom is very much a my home is open to everyone type of person. So over the year, Maya began spending more and more time at our house, eventually bringing Ali over as well since she always was babysitting. By the time Michael and Maya were 16 years old, Maya basically lived in the guest room, and Ali spent after school, most weekends, holidays, and summer vacation at our house. My mom and dad say that they both love Maya and Ali like their own children. My other siblings, 18 male and 16 female, also treat her like she's part of the family. Even after Maya and Michael moved out, Ali still is at their house the same amount, if not more, than she was before. Not to preface, I have nothing against Ali. She's a good kid and I make an effort to be nice to her. However, I've never really liked how she was forced into our lives. She's not actually adopted and she still has parents and her own family. Yet my parents spend so much time and resources on her. It's ridiculous. Everyone else has started and ironically calling her their daughter or sister, and I've refused. I just don't consider her to be family. Anyways, I got married recently, which is where the issues start. I invited Ali to the wedding, of course, and she came with all of my other family. When we were doing pictures of the wedding parties, I decided that I wanted one with all of my immediate family. So my parents, my siblings, and Maya and Michael's daughter. My mom brought Ali up to come take the picture with us, and I was forced to tell her no. My mom started to get upset, but then Ali said it was okay and sat down by herself. My mom isn't a very confrontational person, so she didn't make a big deal out of it. But then everyone else realized that Ali wasn't there and they got mad as well. Ultimately, we took the photo how I wanted it because they didn't want to do this at my wedding. But my entire family is pissed at me now. My mom said that Ali cried when she got home because I don't love her, which I don't. I feel like they forced into a position where I had to do an a-hole thing by forcing this kid onto me. I don't think I should have to consider her family if I don't want to. Am I the a-hole? Edit 1. After the ceremony, but before the reception, the wedding party, and both of our close families took photos. I did not include Ali in this photo session, and she sat with the rest of the regular guests waiting for dinner. I did not intentionally exclude her from any of the photos taken. I'm sure she's in some of them from throughout the night, especially because she was there with my family. I hope that clears things up. Edit 2. Maya and Ali are sisters. Sorry, forgot to explicitly say that in my post. Final edit. The people who are agreeing with me are starting to convince me that I'm wrong. To people calling my parents nasty things in my PMS or just saying that they aren't good people, you're dead wrong. My mom is the most caring and kind-hearted woman in the world, and I should have made that more clear in my post. To be clear, I'm also not a monster. I don't mistreat Ali. I get her birthday and Christmas gifts every year. However, I'm starting to understand that I did do a thing by publicly excluding her at my wedding because I wanted it to be exactly how I imagined, especially because my mom was apparently blindsided by my feelings. I was 16, 18 when Ali started coming around a lot and I didn't form the same bond everyone else did. I never super liked being around kids, including my sister who, by all accounts, behaved way worse than Ali ever did. But I recognize that she's become part of our family, and I think I'm going to make more of an effort to get to know her properly because I do know she is very mature and intelligent for her age. I also don't mean to minimize what Maya and Ali have gone through by saying she wasn't physically abused. I more so meant to explain why she hadn't been legally removed from her mother's house. She does have extended family that actually care about her, but they live at minimum an hour away, so she stays with my parents the majority of time. Thank you for your input. If there is one thing I would wish for in this world, is to take care, include children who don't have good families or children who don't have a family. Because imagine being a child in this world and your own flesh and blood not wanting you. That would have been so sad. She could have just included the girl in a couple of pictures and then took pictures with her own family. Like, it was not that deep. OP seems like she does not like this little girl for some odd reasons. Am I wrong for leaving up a picture that angers my mother-in-law? I, 25 female, married my husband Joe, 27 male, 4 months ago. We did it all through high school and college, so we've been in each other's lives and in each other's families for quite some time. Joey's father died when we were seniors in high school, and his sister Jill died 3 years ago. Since then, his mother Jane has been, in my opinion, unhinged. I cannot imagine her sense of loss, and I know everyone has their own grief process, so I really try not to judge, but she makes everything about her grief. She didn't come to our college graduation because she would never get to see Jill graduate from college. We try to be especially kind to her on Mother's Day, but she spends hours at the cemetery and gets very irritated if we leave before she's ready to. She insists we give our first child her husband's name as a first or middle name and gets angry when we say we'll name our future children as we see fit. There have been other incidents too. She's done so much to push Joey away while also relying on him for emotional and sometimes financial support. They have a very unhealthy relationship now. It came to a head when we were wedding planning. I invited her to come wedding dress shopping with me, my mom, my grandma, and my maid of honor. I told her she did not need to come if it was going to be painful for her, but she said she would be happy to. To all our surprise, she came and brought a wedding gown that Jill had purchased to save for her own wedding someday. She said it would help her if I tried it on, and I did, which made her cry, but then she insisted that it was my dress and I did not need to get another one. After multiple refusals, she pouted the rest of the time. It was so awkward for everyone. This led to a lot of drama to the point where Joey and me, but mostly Joey, did not want her at the wedding wedding because we couldn't trust her to not cause some kind of scene and because we thought it would be terrible for her mental health. We asked her not to come and she agreed not to. I got to have a dance with my dad and my mom surprised Joey by stepping in for a mother's dance with him. They smiled and laughed the whole time. It was the most special part of our wedding to me. I recently changed my FB cover photo to picture of Joey and my mom dancing and laughing. Jean saw this and has been coming at us for it, saying it's just a reminder that she was excluded from her son's wedding day. I told her I'm not taking it down and that if she doesn't want to see it, she can simply not look at my FB. She says I am inconsiderate of her feelings and that I am an a-hole for this because it drives another wedge between her and her son. I mean, losing two people that you love, like a child and a husband, in such a short time can literally make anybody go crazy. And it sounds like OP's mother-in-law needs to see somebody for help because at some point you can't make other people's lives miserable just because you're feeling miserable. And also, your other family members are dead. The child in front of you also needs you. That's what people forget sometimes. Like, you'll see someone who's grieving, like a parent grieving, or like a spouse grieving for their spouse that died, and they would neglect everybody else in front of them. Like, your husband died and your child died, which is very, very unfortunate and very sad. But you also have a living child that also needs your help, your support, and for you to be well, for you to be there with them, you know? So I don't know, she just needs help.